Hello, a very fantastic Wednesday to you viewers of SaraRights TV, wherever you could be. I would say thank you so much for being part of the biggest TV in Arua City. Of course, I'm set here in the city of course today. I'm alone in the cities, and we will be discussing ones and twos in the world of sports. And there's so many stories to be talked about, but of course the biggest one is our own in Western region in the names of Ringo will be in a fight in Scotland. Down in UK, he will be having one of the biggest fights in his actual career. These are some of the stories that we shall be discussing with you. Not forgetting the issues happening internationally. Of course, we have seen Italy national team appointing Roberto Mancini as the new head coach. Not forgetting France national team equally appointing the services of Zinedine Zidane as the new head coach of the team in there. And some of the biggest stories that we will be discussing include the idea of a Chelsea Football Club. Of course, Chelsea are in business, and one of the latest that I can confirm to you is the return of Danny Welbeck into the team of Chelsea Football Club, and they are equally also interested in the services of Henderson, formerly of Liverpool Football Club. So all days we shall be discussing with you here in the studio. Of course, my name is Senior Geroh, the host of the show. Of course, today at 9 p.m. East African time or Ugandan time, we shall be seeing our own from Western region in the names of Aziz Ringo, who will be involved in a fight down in Scotland in UK, and this is going to be one of the biggest fights for him. Of course, the 25-year-old Western born Ugandan fighter in the names of Ringo, who will be facing off England's actually Dama Thomas in there. Of course, this is going to be one of the biggest fights for Aziz Ringo. Of course, he is going to be involved in this fight in Scotland. Of course, they are currently taking part in the Commonwealth Games that are currently ongoing in UK, and Aziz Ringo is one of the biggest personalities who is actually representing us in that perspective. Of course, we are proud as West Nile. Of course, Aziz Ringo is actually raising the flag of West Nile higher. He is equally raising the flag of Uganda higher when it comes to the Commonwealth Games. Of course, this is going to be one of the biggest actual fights for him. In case he beats this guy in the names of Domar Thomas, of course, he is going to be coming home with a bronze medal. Of course, this is not the stage where it can be important to win accolades for himself, and Aziz Ringo is one of the biggest talking points right now in Uganda. Of course, we are going to be getting ourselves to see whether Aziz Ringo can be a person to do something huge for Uganda in that perspective. Of course, he weighs 90 kgs. That's Aziz Ringo for you, and he's going to be doing ones and twos in that actual tournament, which is currently going in Scotland. In one of the Commonwealth Games, in his first debut in that actual perspective. That is Aziz Ringo, our own from Koboko district. Of course, he is the son to actually late president in the names of Idi Amin. Of course, Idi Amin is actually his grandfather, and Aziz Ringo is actually following the legacy of his grandfather. Of course, we all know Idi Amin, before he joined politics, he was one of the fighters in Uganda, and he won one of the biggest accolades in Uganda. He won the Uganda's light heavyweight title actually way back in 1951, not forgetting 1960 in there. So Idi Amin's legacy is actually yielding fruits for Aziz Ringo, and these are some of the things that we shall be getting ourselves to see whether Aziz Ringo can be in position to do something huge in that perspective. So let's leave them and then I'll talk about the transfers because I don't have much time to discuss one of the two things here and there. Of course, one of the biggest one is Bradley Bakola finally agreed in personal terms with Liverpool. Of course, he is going to be joining this team of Liverpool Club in there, and it's not down to Liverpool to go hand in hand with the Paris Saint-Germain to have a common understanding about the players' seconds in the storm. Bradley Bakola to Liverpool, verbal agreement is already set. Now it's not down to Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool Club to come into common terms to have their actual things. Then, of course, Team Paris Saint-Germain did say that in case Liverpool or Arsenal wants the services of Bradley Bakola, the team has to pay a fee of around £145 million for the services of Bradley Bakola. and still all remains to be seen whether the guy can be a person to join Liverpool in there. So Real Madrid have no plans of selling Vinicius Jr. These are some of the stories making headlines in the transfer market. So let's begin from there, and we talk after the transfer a little bit. Of course, Paris Saint-Germain and France forward Bradley Barcola, after 23, has verbal raised an agreement with Liverpool, but there is no contact between Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain for the services of the France international. This is according to the Equipe down in France. Of course, Barcola has actually possible move to Liverpool will lead to France League One actually champions Paris Saint-Germain trying to beat Real Madrid in the second of Ivory Coast. Actual winger Yann Diamat 19 in there. So Yann Diamat also agreed personal terms with Real Madrid already, and he is going to be joining Real Madrid. So Liverpool have got a mountain climbing fixture to do in convincing Team Paris Saint-Germain to see that the Bradley Barcola joins them through in the services in the Real Madrid do not instead to sell their 26-year-old Brazil after forward Vinicius Jr., whose corners with the Spanish giant will run out until the summer, and they are confident that he is going to be part of their project, and he's going to be agreeing a new deal at Real Madrid. In the, of course, Newcastle United actually insist that the club are not in talks with Arsenal of a deal to sell the actual captain in the name of Bruno Guimaraes 28 to the Gunners, and it has been reported that the Brazil international will return to training on Friday. This is according to Northern Echo in there, and don't expect this guy in the name of Bruno Guimaraes to join Arsenal at ease. Of course, Newcastle are saying that he is going to be joining actually their training after the session of this week. That's probably on Friday, and it has been confirmed that they have no plans of selling this guy in the name of Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal. And the Bayern Munich have no plans to sell Colombia for Luis Diaz, despite reported interest from Al Hilal, and the 29-year-old German player is said to be one of the biggest assets for team Bayern Munich. Of course, Everton are demanding a fee of around £17 million for the second of Senegal winger the 26 amid interest from Manchester United and Al Hilal in that perspective, and Manchester United are willing to let that striker Dr. Zaxi to leave and are in talks with the Juventus about a new deal for the services of this player in the name of Dr. Zaxi. And Nottingham Forest are close to secure actually 40 million euros. That's equivalent to 34 million pounds deal for every course to send back young Osman Diomete from Sporting CP. Of course, my time is up. I need to leave the city for the next program to come in. I have to say thank you so much for being part of the biggest TV in Arua City. Bye bye for now.